If you like this reaction, give me a like. If you would like to see more content, subscribe, click all on the bell and you'll get continued content. Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown. Today I will be discussing Season 5, Episode 3 of Handmaid's Tale, called Border. Now the title is very telling, so it doesn't take a lot of guesswork to figure out they're most likely talking about the border between Gilead and Canada. I think we very quickly got to see that reality when Moira finally admitted that there was this group on the border of women that came from Gilead that were trying to involve themselves in whatever way they could in the good fight against Gilead. After seeing the way that Serena involved Hannah, I think Moira now feels more vested. So she finally spilled the tea about this group in Canada along the border, which obviously made June very upset that it took her this long to say anything. To Moira's defense, she says she feels they are crazy to be helping along the border, putting their lives in danger. But this is one way that those girls can feel like they're really doing something more substantial to attack Gilead from the inside and the outside. And I was thinking from what happened last episode that Luke would now be more vested in this fight against Serena, against Fred, against Gilead. Seeing Hannah on that big screen like that, knowing that she is now almost in a similar position to what June was when she got there. And he may very well be, but because the group on the border does not accept men, he is told that he has to stay back and sidelined from the situation. Maybe later we might see something, but for right now, Luke is sidelined again. Now, back in Gilead Red Center land, we see Lydia going through this process of dealing with the situation. And I could only hope that she would understand, like somewhere deep down in her brain, she could maybe have a little understanding for what Esther was going through, why Esther might attempt something like that. And maybe deep down inside, maybe she does. You also see this like hatred in her face, this anger and hatred because Esther struck her pet. And so Lydia literally strikes her, which Lydia has been doing stuff like this to actually conscious people that also can't do anything about it. But now she's doing it to an unconscious person that really can't do anything about it. And then she goes into Janine's room. I don't want to see Janine die, but I don't want to see Esther die either. And I know that Janine has become Lydia's little pet. Yeah, seeing that contrast between how she reacts to Esther being on her deathbed versus Janine being on her deathbed, it was very telling. But it definitely showed me that she doesn't seem to acknowledge what she did by placing that traumatized girl in the position that she did. And what can we do with that? I don't know. She does cry and repent and pray and swears that she's going to do things differently, but that also calls into question, what is her version of differently? When she says she's going to do things differently, what does that actually mean? In the previous season, we see Lawrence talking about wanting to do things differently, wanting to kind of make Gilead better. And the same question would hold for him. What does that mean? What does it mean when he says he wants to do things differently? And what does Lydia mean when she says she wants to do things differently? And hopefully this is the arc that we were waiting for, that's supposed to be coming to kind of go along with the books. But we'll see. Either way, we at least get to see that she has the good sense to bring little baby Angela in there to save the day, be with her mommy, hoping that that same kind of motherly child love and bonding and all of that that helped Angela get well might work in reverse with Angela helping Janine get well. And a little later, we do get to see that Janine is up from the bed, that she has regained consciousness, and I was so excited. And then immediately, I think because this is Handmaids and we know things can go so very badly, I immediately started to think, oh, but what if she's not? What if it was actually that she died and that's why she's not in the bed? But then I should have thought, no, they wouldn't have had, like, it wouldn't have looked like she was just taken out of the bed and nobody's there. Like, anyway, we get to at least see that baby Angela saved the day. That Janine is up and not necessarily moving around, but she is conscious, and I think she will make it. I don't know that she will be well, but at least alive. And she does look very, very bad and very disheveled, and I think very done with everything. So, how will things move forward from here for Janine? I don't know. We'll see in upcoming episodes. And last episode, we did get to see this choreographed kind of ballet, which was where that title came from, of Serena really pulling strings and playing her hand. And in this episode, we get to see kind of an extension of her playing her hand with this meal in which Serena and Nick and Lawrence and the Mackenzies are there, and Nick's new wife is there. We get to learn more about how Nick met his wife, and we get to learn a little bit more about how much she knows, not necessarily in that dinner, but yeah, it appears that Rose is actually kind of on the inside of this little game that Nick and Lawrence are playing with June, that she at least knows a little bit more about June than what any other wife might know. And we also get to find out that he actually got married of his own free will rather than being in a prearranged marriage like a lot of them seem to be, like his first marriage was very prearranged, and he had no say in any of it, and this one he at least had some say in, and it sounds like she had some say too. But of course, the Mackenzies right off the bat call attention to some of that, and yeah, we get to see, like, really there are these eyes that are paying attention to the things that are going on and that have gone on. So even though Tuello had spoken with Nick the previous episode about possibly helping behind the scenes, he knows that when they have their eagle eye out on them, that they're tightening things up because they see things they don't want getting out going on. He knows that they're going to really be looking and that he has to be very careful. But he did at least get a chance to talk to June, so. But back to Serena playing her hand. We also see later when she is talking to Lawrence about her baby, she starts going on about how he can't be without a wife in Gilead and all of this. And as soon as I realized that she was talking about trying to convince him to marry her so they could have some kind of like joint marriage thing going on, I was like, no, please don't do that. Because we've seen Lawrence can be very, very helpful to the people that are fighting against Gilead, but he is also very bendable. He has been helping the other side a lot. He also seems to be meldable in a way that I think Serena would be able to quickly, easily play him. Luckily, he did not take the bait, and he was able to see very quickly. I think he is the kind of guy that can see that kind of thing from somebody like Serena, whereas he didn't quite stop June when she was doing the same thing with him. I just worry that if they were in a situation like that long term, she would be playing him like a fiddle. I do not want to see that. I do not want to see a Lawrence character on Serena's side, not in any meaningful way. And towards the end of the episode, when she she tells Duello that she's going to stay there, that this is her home, like I think she's got this delusional idea that she's going to be able to be this great puppeteer that's going to pull strings like she did when Gilead started to come up, when Gilead took over America. I think maybe she has this delusion that she's going to be able to somehow behind the scenes make stuff like that happen without understanding that this world that you created is based purely on the idea that we have power over all the women, and we are not going to allow them to have that kind of power, period. Maybe they kind of snap her back into reality a little bit when she gets called into that council meeting and finds out that her little ploy to get Lawrence to agree to marry her did not go as planned, and that she will not be staying in Gilead. So that definitely did not go her way. But I think when all settles down, we know how Serena is. She manipulates every situation, and she manipulates everyone in her life, and that's exactly what she'll do. And I think that the play that the council meeting made with making her a global ambassador, that will be exactly what she wants. This will be something that she will just feed off to no end. This is the exact kind of popularity and ability to bring in followers that she's going to eat up. That's how Serena is. So I think even if she didn't see it as a positive at first, I think she will definitely see it as a positive as she starts her manipulation and planning. And you could see it already. You could see it already when she saw her little followers. Somebody else called them acolytes. And I would definitely say that acolytes would be an accurate description. Back to the Canada side, over at the Canada border, we get to learn several things. We learn that the girl that starts speaking to June is actually one of the Marthas that was traded for Fred, and she is now fighting the good fight. So that's really cool. That was one of the things last episode that I said I was hoping to kind of see, is more of an understanding of what's going on with some of those girls that were traded. Because I do think that if they really want to, they can utilize these girls in a very great way. And so we get to see the beginning of that. We also see that these are very small outposts with groups of girls. I already said that they don't want the men folk coming into the group, so that was something we knew right off the bat. And we do hear this conflict with guns raised and people shouting and all kinds of anxiety and tension going on when a male from the Gilead side comes over to their outpost with a gun. He seems to be one of the Gilead soldiers, but he's actually there to help. And they even talk about some of the help that they have within Gilead. So we know that goes on, but they have their own system of password that they're supposed to use, or subsequent phrases that they are supposed to listen to and respond to. And he was told them, but he doesn't know, he can't remember offhand. And I've been there, and especially now with my head injury, I definitely have those moments where there are things that I've definitely been told I should know, and I just can't, I just can't seem to access them. But even before my accident, I definitely remember plenty of times where, especially in a tense situation, where I'm supposed to remember something that I was told that was important, and I'm just drawing a blank. So I get where he was coming from there. And luckily his friend comes just in the nick of time, telling the password and explaining that this is her friend, and that he is on their side. So as soon as that happens, like, all the tension is released and everybody seems to be completely okay and on board with him being there. When June is brought inside and she's being shown some of the people that they've helped, she's also shown some of the people that have lost their life in the process. We find out, and June finds out, that this is Mayday, that this group that they thought they had made up in their minds just to deal with all of the awfulness that was Gilead, that was their position, that it wasn't actually made up, that this was the real thing. And we finally get to meet part of Mayday, and I was so there for that. That was definitely something that made me very happy. We finally get to see that there is a real Mayday. So that was pretty awesome. And she explains it is just these little small outposts that are everywhere. It's not this big entrenched organization, because we can't have it like that. It will be too obvious, it will be seen, and we would be caught. And but that there are definitely situations where they are in harm's way, they are in a dangerous situation. So when they find out that somebody is in really deep like that and they are likely to get caught, they do what they can to try to get them out. And I do wonder if some of the previous scenes we've seen early in Handmaids, with with Luke getting out, with the group of people that get him out, with the people that helped June several times, I do wonder if a lot of those were not Mayday people trying to step in when they knew that shit's getting deep and these people need our help, and this is the time to help them. So I think we had confirmation that some of that was Mayday, but there were some situations where you couldn't really say for sure, and I wonder if that was, or if it was something where Mayday was somewhat involved. Another thing I almost forgot to mention, the upside down American flag. Now, I had talked about this in one of my previous videos before Handmaid's Tale started, when they showed this clip of the American flag upside down, and I'm still wondering if anybody has any idea what that might mean in this given situation. The girl that talked about Mayday specifically said they have no flags, but that upside down American flag definitely seems to be specifically for some sort of symbolism. So I do wonder what that is about. And Mayday does give June what she wanted, which was this ability to talk to Nick and get a little bit of information from him, especially with her concern about Hannah being in that funeral, about the clothes that she was wearing, what was going on, why was she in those clothes, what does that mean for her future. And Nick does explain that that this color is insinuating that she is in school to become a wife, which is really freaking scary and distressing. That's got to scare everybody. I think that really brings Moira in, except Moira is really being delusional. No, she's not going to be a wife. She can't be a wife. Where in your experience in Gilead would you even get the idea that she would somehow avoid becoming a wife? What do you think her future holds there? You obviously can't get her out right now. Her other alternatives are likely much worse, unless she can be a freaking Aunt Lydia or something, and that would be horrible. I don't want to see sweet Hannah become a freaking Aunt Lydia. Either way, maybe Moira's just trying to talk herself down, trying to convince herself, because all the indications are showing that. But at least I think hopefully that will help Moira to see a little bit better, to understand a little bit better. This cracking that you're seeing from June, this instability, this craziness, there's reasons for it. You were in Gilead. You've seen some of the awful shit that happens. And you weren't a handmaid, but you were almost there. You freaking left to escape that. You left Gilead to escape the life that you were thrown in. So you've got to know, and you know the structure of Gilead. You know what they're going to do. You know what they do with these girls, and you've seen numerous girls come back from Gilead traumatized. So while we all like to get angry about how June is and how selfish she is and how stupid some of her actions are, we still need to have some understanding that she is a freaking broken, traumatized individual. And it makes me a little concerned sometimes that Moira doesn't seem to empathize very well with that reality, and I would think she would have more empathy in that situation. Now we do see a little meetup between Nick and Tuello later on, and we also see that Nick's wife Rose is involved. She knows about it. She is standing off in the sidelines while Nick goes to speak to him very briefly, but he does speak to him, and of course the Commander Mackenzie sees this. It draws attention to him, unwanted negative attention, which is what Nick was concerned about in the first place when he told Tuello that he couldn't go along with his plan, at least right now. So I think between what we've seen in that dinner that they had, what we've seen on the council meetings, the way that they've treated Tuello the entire time, and the comments that people are making about June, about Fred, about knowing that she needed a lot of help, and the connections that they know that Nick and Lawrence have with that situation, I think we know there's a lot of eyes that are going to be on them. There's going to be a lot of focus on them, and they're going to have to really stay clean and straight and be very, very careful for a while. So I was really hoping that they'd have this nice little insider there, and they probably will, but I think Nick's going to have to be very careful, and Lawrence is going to have to be very, very careful how they tread in the next few weeks, months or so, to make sure that they get these people kind of off their track. Because right now, they're definitely looking at them, definitely suspicious. It's too bad, but I have faith things can be turned around later. And I definitely would like to see more of this Rose character. She seems very interesting. I think that they insinuated that she was able to make this connection for her marriage proposal with Nick based on her being, I think it was Commander Warren's daughter. So that's interesting also. I feel like I need to go back in the old seasons a little bit and go and look into that, because I do remember Commander Warren a little bit. So very interesting stuff. Definitely want to see more of her. Any little inside helpers in Gilead helping the Mayday side or helping the American Canadian side, I am all for that. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about was that little scene after June finds out that Serena is getting ready to cross the border. She arranges to have her car parked right there on the border to confront Serena. That was so beautiful. I am so there for it. I mean, Serena had her checkmate moment last episode, and this was June's checkmate moment. So glad to see that. I am obviously on June's side with this. I would love to see Serena just be taken down in the most humiliating way. I don't need to see stuff like her becoming a handmaid or whatever. I want to see her taken down and humiliated. Just freaking horribly humiliated. Because that's what gets Serena going. Serena likes that pomp and circumstance and being followed and being liked and people doing her bidding and stuff like that. She likes the popularity. She likes the fame. So take that shit away from her. Make her humiliated. Make her disgraced. And I mean really humiliated and disgraced. Take her down a few pegs. She needs to go. She needs to go down. And she needs to be hurt in a way that will hurt her. But I definitely think that they have this set up for at least the next episode to be a lot of Serena gaining her following and using her new position to get herself exactly where she wants to keep playing games. Hurt June more and more as much as she can. Hopefully with June's new connections, and also knock Serena down a few pegs and put her in her place. But we'll see. Until next time, see you when I see ya. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications.